You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Happy Monday. I want to talk about the interview with Jessica Gordon. Are we dragging this on? Are we dragging this on? How's my tie look? I was trying to rush to get on time, guys. I apologize. Good evening. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight I want to talk about the interview Jessica Gordon did with Ruros. And you guys called it. The people who posted it up and said she was speaking to Ruros at the event on Saturday, asking him for help. I need help, Ru. I did something bad. There's a video out there circulating, and it doesn't make me look good. Jessica Gordon is the executive director of the South Broadway BID, Business Improvement District. It's an organization that's separate from the city. It's actually not part of the city. It's a nonprofit that works to improve the area there, the South Broadway corridor, in order to bring more business, to bring more economic growth and prosperity to the area. And that's what the lady there, Mrs. Garcia, was also trying to do, bring more economic growth to her family. And she was there with her two children who were off from school, unfortunately, and had to witness their mom and another gentleman be spoken to in a way that was very, very degrading. And for me, it's not just about what she said, but how she was speaking to them, the tone, the manner, and knowing that those two kids were there. As a Puerto Rican, my grandparents did not speak English well, especially when I was younger. They would go places, I would translate, even as a young boy, 8 years old. And I saw how people in authority would look down on them, speak down to them, even as a child, even as an 8, 9-year-old boy. I knew that that was not okay. And it made me feel bad even then to see my grandfather just look and smile at a man who was disrespecting him. And that's what I thought of when I saw those two children there standing next to their mom. And that left something in me that I still think about till this day. It's traumatic. So it's not just about the racial remarks, but the traumatic experience that I believe those two children had to experience, all because someone felt that their authority was being challenged. And they weren't going to allow that to happen. Sure, she made a mistake. We all make mistakes, but mistakes come with consequences. And so, should she be fired or have to resign from her position as the executive director of the South Broadway BID? Well, one thing's for sure, Rough Riders wasn't playing. She made a public statement on the Ruros page stating that she is no longer affiliated or part of the organization, Rough Rider Rescue. And that's commendable. So I got to say, shout out to Rough Rider. Much respect to you guys. And they do a lot of community service. The Rough Rider Rescue brand is a brand that, or a division of the overall company that goes out into the community and tries to build the community up by impacting the individuals within that community. So if you're interested in learning more about it, check them out, Rough Rider Rescue. And no, they did not reach out to me to say this. I just had respect for the fact that they made it a point to have her say that publicly. Will the board members of the South Broadway BID, who are Latino, many of them, do the same? We'll see. This is a video from another angle I want to show you real quick, just so we can have some clarity on what actually was said, right? And then I'll show the video from Ruros in that interview, and we'll go through that.
Bitch, I was born here. You were before. Bitch, I was born. You were before.
So that's right there. That statement right there. That remark is the big remark, right? That everyone's, focusing on. Although I think for me, it's the entire incident. Everything she said, the way she was saying it, how she was doing it, where she was doing it, and who she was doing it in front of. It's not just about the remarks. So even if you didn't mean to say, go back to where you come from or where you were at or where you where you were before, whatever she tried to say she meant. Even if you didn't mean it, go back to your country or just go back across the street or wherever you believe the gentleman was before, though he was there with his daughter. Obviously, he had purchased something from the street vendor. So that's where he was. Right. But still, it's the overall tone, your attitude, and your feeling of superiority, and your inability to handle a situation when your authority is in question or is being questioned, or in your mind is being questioned. And you made other remarks like, they're not going to have their licenses when I'm done. You were dealing with the individual at that time. Why did you make that comment toward the two street vendors? I didn't understand that.
Bitch, I was born here. Woo!
You weren't on this street,
Yeah.
you were here.
Yep, I was born in Yonkers.
Where were you yesterday? Where were you yesterday?
Yeah.
Wherever this car
I
was
was
yesterday,
right here.
back
I
here.
was right here. So,
Woo!
what the fuck is telling me where it was? Go back.
I would like to see you do anything to make me shut up then, sir.
I'm from Yonkers. You ignorant.
How ignorant are you?
You're ignorant.
No,
No, you see
I
this
work
shit?
here. I
You
work
see
here.
this shit?
What
This
are you
shit
doing
been
here?
here
What
for
are you
7
doing?
years.
I work
I've been here
I work
for you.
here.
Yeah. All
Who do
right.
you vote for? Who
All
do you
right.
vote for? Who do you vote for? That's
So another thing that she did to me, I mean, that was just wrong. You're going up to him. You're going into his face. You're going into his space. Why approach him? You're antagonizing the situation. You're escalating the situation by approaching the man. And the man did a good job of actually walking away. Yes, the man did curse. But this was after he felt that she was harassing street vendors who are Mexican, and he's Mexican. And again, with the environment nowadays, we see this a lot on the television, on social media. Racism is still alive and well, even in 2023. And so again, if you did not mean it that way, you have to understand where these individuals are coming from. You have to have a level of sensitivity to the community, a community that you say you are working to improve. Part of improving the community is improving relationship among the people of that community. And so you needed to approach it differently. He obviously was upset because he felt that they were being harassed. And you say you're here to educate, and I'll show that video. Why didn't you instead calmly articulate why you were there and educate the man? But no, you felt the need to have to be aggressive because you felt your authority was being challenged and you could not handle that. That's not a mistake. That's a personality trait.
somebody. Who do you vote for?
All right. If you work here, start working. I'll pay my taxes from Yonkers. Start working then.
Who'd you vote
I'm
for?
gonna get the cement. Start working.
Do you know who voted?
Fix it.
You know how to vote?
Fix it, man. I'm a voter.
Then you have to tell them to fix it. Give them
I
money.
tell you.
So that was TikTok. It went viral. And I know they want to blame Freddie Vasquez for why this is blowing up and maybe even dragging on. But it's not me. I'm just talking about it. I'm analyzing it. It's already being out there, been put out there. It's on TikTok. I don't even do TikTok. But when you put something on TikTok, forget it. Right there, she said, who do you vote for? Who do you vote for? Who do you vote for? And then she says, do you even know how to vote? Why? Why does she say, do you even know how to vote? And can you even vote from the other angle? What are you implying? So obviously the man felt you were being a racist. And by the way, I need to correct myself. Jessica Gordon is not a Latina. She's actually Italian. Not sure with another ethnicity, I'm not sure, but I was told Italian. But you made a lot of statements, a lot of remarks that could be seen as racist, and also just as you are a person that feels you're superior and you can do whatever you want. You have this power over this individual and these street vendors because they're beneath you. And you're connected and you know the right people. As we saw on Saturday, when she was only a block away at a party or an event for the mayor, Hispanos for Spano. Not one of them in that event acknowledging what happened on Friday to another Latino, another Hispano or Hispanic. Not one. Not one caring about the Latinos that were out there protesting, upset. Instead of coming out and say, we are a community. We must have unity. What's going on? We need to discuss this. The woman was there. Maybe she shouldn't have been there. Maybe you guys should have said, you know what? After yesterday's event, maybe you should stay home. But they had her there, and it triggered some things. I watched the whole video, and it was quite disturbing. Working for the IDA, she should have a much better rapport with vendors in the area. She says she never saw them there before. But that's a lie, because I've seen them there. I've seen the two women there. And I don't stop there to get anything. When I drive by, I remember I've seen them before. So if you only seen them once, then you're not out there. You're not getting to know all the vendors. You're only getting to know the ones that spend money at the political events. You know, the ones that bring all these donations and contributions to Mike Spano. So then you can curry favors to Mike Spano. That's why a lot of these individuals do it. There's a lot of people that will set up and throw events for elected officials so they could get cool with them. Look how much money I can raise for you, Mayor. Look how much money I can raise for you, council person. Make sure you support my business. Make sure you give me the grant money to my business. Because they give businesses money. A certain business just got $35,000 recently. I'm not going to say which one. I don't want to blow them up. It's not their fault. Another business that's very well known, with the owners very close to the mayor, a Latino owner, got $50,000 to help him renovate his business. Yet others get attacked. Because if you're not doing fundraisers, if you're not bringing people in to sign petitions and vote, they're not going to care about you. And dare you not speak out against them, because then they will attack you. That's what it's all about. She was totally unprofessional in her demeanor. Her conduct was reprehensible. Despite those around her yelling, she showed a complete lack of self-control. Exactly. Calling others ignorant. Exactly. Thank you. And I didn't mention that. Right. She called the guy ignorant. She was into the name calling. I mean, she is to be held at a higher standard, seeing as that she is the executive director of the South Broadway BID. Right? Given her position, she should know better. Absolutely. She can't control herself. She's been getting away with so much for so long. It's become normal. Wow. You're not the first person that has said this. Someone else said you should see her so-and-so smoking cigarettes, acting a certain way. So listen, you know, I don't want to hear this is the first time type of thing. I mean, that's not going to fly, right? Obviously, this is something you've done before. You felt comfortable. I mean, you were going into this guy's face. That's an aggressive, we're going to fight type of thing. That leads to physical violence. Fortunately, that the guy wasn't that type of guy, because I've seen this happen. Go on YouTube, go on social media. You will see a woman yelling at a guy like that, and he'll punch her out. I seen a video 3 days ago in a gas station. A guy, he didn't just punch her out. He kept beating the woman because she was getting aggressive and yelling in his face like that. That's not justification, but you don't know who you're dealing with. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. She needs to be fired. She was harassing them. Disgusting behavior for any leader in this city. She was provoking the entire situation. Fire her ass. Absolutely. I agree. 1000%. By her yelling back, calling him ignorant, telling him to go back to where he was, because he obviously took that, as you were saying, go back to your country, because he said, I was born here. I was born in Yonkers. I'm from here. Where do you want me to go? That's what he believed you said. So his reaction was based off that. And you didn't really correct yourself. You didn't say, that's not what I meant. I meant go back across the street to where you were. Then she did kind of say something to that effect, but that's after he had said that, and she then realized, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't have said something like that. Then she's like, weren't you across the street, or weren't you just across the street? How do you know where he was? If you're focused on the lady and whether or not she has her license and the generator that's posing a threat to the community, right? Be careful with the generators, man. Let them be a shootout in the generator. Forget it. Mike Spano isn't concerned with the character of the people that he appoints to important positions within his administration. Not at all. They're all just pieces on a chessboard. It's just that simple. Absolutely. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit here when I show the Hispanos for Spano event and who are the individuals that are there claiming to represent the entire Latino community here in the city of Yonkers. Because I don't think they do. I don't believe at all that they represent the entire Latino community here in the city of Yonkers. They represent themselves, their pockets, their business. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Some of the individuals that were in there were convicted criminals, convicted for stealing, convicted for lying and falsifying documents, election documents, convicted for pedophilia, like Ruros, who pled guilty and admitted to touching and kissing an underage student of his at his karate school. But that's just one of many pedophiliac, whatever you say, things that he's done. He also had child porn in his phone. I have the Yonkers police report. That was in 2018. Whatever happened to that? Why wasn't it investigated? But he is allowed to hang out in this small circle of elitists. That's what they are. They are elitists. They think they're better. They're given a little bit of crumbs from the, people at the top. And they think they're better than the other people in their community because they're somebody. I got a title now. I know the mayor. Look at me. I'm taking a picture with the mayor. Right, Lorraine? You once said the mayor was a racist. You said he went after all the spics, quote unquote, when he got into office, and you blamed him for being convicted of a felony. And now you are bringing all the Latinos in to vote for him. What has he done in the past 12 years for the Latinos? The Latino community is the largest here in the city of Yonkers, Latinos. We are 43% of the population. If we can get together and not allow them to have infiltrators divide us, we will be powerful. That would never happen again. And you see how she went on Yonkers Voice to cop a plea. Why? Because we came out. Shout out to We United. Shout out to the people who organized that rally. They came out. And everyone else who's been posting and talking about it and sharing it and asking for her resignation and putting out the petitions, you guys are the reason why she is on Yonkers Voice copying a plea. Continue to push. Unity is what we need. Work together, be consistent, and get in their faces. Because for far too long, Yonkers, and this is for everybody, not just Latinos, they have taken from us. Look at our school district. Look at our roads. Look at our overall community. The crime is going up. The rents are going up. They're obviously wanting to push you out. They're bringing luxury developments in, no jobs. They're closing some businesses down, forcing them to be closed, and forcing other people out. Much of the Nodine Hill section, the rents are going up. Hundreds of dollars a month. They're going up. They want you out of the Nodine Hill section. They want to renovate all that property there and then bring in new people, people with higher income. That's the plan. Where are the jobs at for Lionsgate? How many Latinos have been hired? How many of anybody from Yonkers has been hired? And so it's time to see through the lies, and that's what I do here in Basement Politics. So don't let them put a narrative out there to keep you away from hearing what I have to say. That is fearing them. They fear us uniting. They fear us getting together, organizing, and making a strong opposition. And it's time we do that. Our kids are suffering in those schools. What are there to do? What is there to do for them? What resources do they have? What is this Hispanos for Spano really doing for the Spanish or Hispanic community, the Latinos, Black community, white community, all these organizations that talk so much? What are they actually doing? They're just playing all of us, taking our money. Let's get into the Yonkers Voice interview really quick. Let's hear what she had to say. She said she's not going to quit. She's not resigning. She's not going to, she made a mistake. This is a learning curve. She's going to learn. She's human. People make this mistake. This is what happens. I don't know. If a council member gets away with calling people beggars, she obviously thinks she can call people ignorant. Absolutely, you're right. And this is why we cannot allow this time for it to go away and for this person to keep their job. Tasha Diaz embarrassed a group of Latina women live at a meeting by calling them beggars. Beggars, she yelled at them for 10 minutes. No one stopped her. Disrespectful, ignorant she was as a council member to speak to other minorities, Latinas, or anyone that way. She embarrassed the city of Yonkers. She embarrassed our government. She embarrassed each and every one of us, yet and still, she's running for re-election. She wants you to vote for her. She was up in that party too on Saturday. She's the reason why there is not more affordable housing. So when they say Mike Spano is the affordable housing mayor, that is a lie. He vetoed the affordable housing ordinance. Tasha Diaz changed her vote, and therefore they did not override the mayor's veto. Had she been true to her word, they would now have to require these developers to put twice as many affordable housing, affordable apartments in those developments. That would have created more opportunities for people who are in need of affordable housing. But they don't care about those people. They only care about the developers. So they killed the affordable housing ordinance. And now it's still at 10%. 2 years later, and they still have not brought a new ordinance forth. They keep talking about it, but nothing. And the people need it. There is a housing crisis in Yonkers. It's very important that we understand this. Why is it that you're having trouble finding a place to live that you can afford? Because our elected officials are allowing these developers to come in from the city, bringing luxury developments, bringing people with higher incomes from the city to push you out. If you cannot afford it, so what? See you later. We didn't want you. And that's got to change.
Thank you for contacting and asking us to do this interview so you could articulate and explain to the people of Yonkers. And guys, just before we go further, I want to make it clear that the picture that some people are sending around, trying to make it look like something that it's not, which often happens, had nothing to do with Jessica coming to me and ask for help. Actually, when Jessica came to me to speak.
So he's saying that she didn't come to ask for help. There's a picture there that was posted up where she's talking to Rubros at the event on Saturday, and they said that she was overheard asking him for help. Yes, she did. Why do you think she's on here? Why do you think she's on here? She asked you for help. That's what he does. Why do you think the mayor recently shared his page so you can like it? The mayor of our city, a man that admitted to pedophilia and was convicted of it. Imagine that. He goes out there and creates a false narrative for the politicians. That is why he attacks me, my wife, and my business on a daily basis with Brian Harrod, so you guys can think negatively of me. So my business will not get any parents to bring their kids, although we are a damn good daycare center. And I challenge you to say otherwise if you come there and see what we do. But they want me gone. They don't want Freddie Vasquez, the Latino that can organize the people. They're scared of that. We are 43% of the population. And this man here is a menace to our society.
The record is straight.
The record is
I approached you and asked you to cover this so that the full story could be known to the people.
Ask for help.
Again, I'll answer your questions and address my own personal behavior. But no, there was no ask. We both were not aware that there were protesters outside until somebody else came in to tell us.
Protesters, is that true? I mean, how can you not be aware?
And then I did what I was instructed by the people that were running the event. And I again asked you, said, well, we obviously should sit down and talk about it and let the people hear the full story.
That's exactly what happened. Jessica, the incident was kind of bad. Certain things were said, certain things were taken out of context. People are twisting certain things in order to create an appearance of something that really did not happen. So let's start with.
So right there, he's already starting off doing a bad job if he's calling himself a journalist, because he's already setting up the narrative. He's saying people are saying things that really did not happen. He wants you to think that. The man's a liar. I mean, I put the newspaper article out there. Read it. Anyone that does that is a liar.
Go back where you came from. I saw the video. That's not what you said. You said, go back to where you were.
Correct. That's
Where
what I
you
said.
were.
Go back to where you were
There
in
you
your
go.
previous location that was safer on the sidewalk.
So come
Let's go
on.
back
Come
to
on now. Come
why
on
we-
now. Folks, come on. Come on. Come on. They want us to they think we're stupid. They think we're stupid. She wants us to believe that she told him to go back to where you were because she wanted him to be safer part of the sidewalk. You believe that? Do you believe that? Y'all don't even know what the guy did before he pressed record. Y'all some sensitive folks. No, we're not sensitive, Martha. We're not. That's disrespectful. What happened before he pressed record was that this woman came and was harassing the two street vendors. She asked her for the license. Did they have their licenses? She called the consumer protection. She called the police and all these people when these two ladies have been there for years, trying to make a little bit of money, and you want to go and have them fined and have them and harass them? If she had done it in a respectful manner, I'm sure the guy wouldn't have been so upset. And I'm not saying that he spoke to her in the most polite way and that he wasn't wrong for being, using the language he was using. But again, as somebody that's been there, because when that consumer protection guy came, he goes up to her and says, somebody called and complained. They said something about the generator, blah, 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 blah. That's what he says. Blah, 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 blah. Those are the words he used, if those are words. How are you going to approach her and say somebody complained about a generator, blah, 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 blah? Right there, he's already disrespecting her because he don't even give her the respect to speak to her like she's an intelligent human. What does that even mean? Why are you coming here if you can't articulate what the complaint was about? And then he walks and looks over at this woman and says, oh, hey, Jessica. Like they're good friends. Then he says to the woman, here's the problem in Spanish. There's 3 people here, but only 1 person on the license. Those 2 other people he's referring to were her 2 children who were with her because school was closed that day. And because she's a street vendor, she may not be able to afford childcare. And so the man's going to disrespect her in front of her kids. Martha, I know you wouldn't take that. I know you wouldn't take that. You have an emotional bias because now your point is, nah, this is what it was. And you want to fight that. I get it. But if you were in that situation, you would have had a problem too. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
You there in the first place, Jessica, because you're not a law enforcement. You're not an inspector. You are the executive director of the BID. Why were you there?
I was coming from, we do regular walks through the district to engage with merchants, both my operations manager and we were leaving for the day to go and get ready for the police PBA event that evening. When I came to the parking lot on Morris Street in South Broadway, I came across the vendor who had a number of safety situations that are part of my job to address, meaning educate the person on what the safety situation is, ask them to change it, to see if to get their buy-in that it is a problem and ask them to change it. And when they don't, it's my job to then include any law enforcement that would oversee the codes or regulations that the vendor abides by or should be abiding by.
All right, but how she's going to change it right there? How much time did you give her? Because you called the police right away. You called Consumer Protection Affairs right away. Did you take the time to educate her? If you were speaking to her politely, educating her on what the issue was and how she can rectify it, I doubt that that guy would have been upset. I doubt it. She could have been to her and say, ma'am, I'm sorry, but this is not, to code. It just presents a danger. So I just want to let you know, when you do bring this out here, make sure that you bring something to put whatever around it, just so people could see it. Okay, man? Just, I don't want no one to get hurt. If that's what it was, or were you going to just check licenses? Which one was it? Were you concerned about a safety issue, or were you wanting to check her license also? That's what I'm saying. She didn't have to check her license if she was concerned with the generator. She could have, like she said, educated her on what was wrong and then kept it moving, because the lady's not going to be able to do nothing right away right there. She wanted to give her a hard time.
So that's a routine. You walk the sidewalks, you engage with the community, you engage with the business around your area, and what's the problems, what can we do? Is that what it is?
Correct. And I engage with other vendors. There have been some other street vendors who have not been in compliance, and we've educated them and brought them all the way to the point of directing them to be a storefront merchant at this point.
I've heard that.
And helping them understand the real safety issues of what happens on the sidewalk. And so all vendors are welcome here. Any vendor that wants to come and do business, conduct business safely according to city ordinance and according to permit regulations, we welcome that. We welcome to help them grow. I've been part of other organizations before this position that has Rolodexes of hundreds and hundreds of vendors that we've helped start their entrepreneurship and also help grow to brick and mortar places. So it's the message that the South Broadway BID, or even myself personally, are against vendors is entirely untrue. And
so she says that they're not against vendors. I walk up and down the street, yet she never seen the woman before, she says there. And they want to help the vendor, progress, right? Grow, get into a brick and mortar, meaning get into an actual location where they're paying rent and all that. What if they don't want to do that? In fact, many people are opting now to do food trucks and carts because of the cost of the rents that are going sky high. And it just doesn't make sense. Maybe the street vendor, her business model is better. She keeps her overhead low. She gets a good volume of business. She's good. Or is it that the guys that actually have the businesses in the stores, the ones that were at that event on Saturday that give you guys money and are on the board, are having an issue with the street vendors selling products that they now sell? They want the business. Is that what it is? That's what the woman told me, Miss Garcia. She says that the stores, the actual full-size restaurants, the brick and mortars, never had the products that they used to have. And then all of a sudden they see how, popular they were. They started to have them, and now they want them out. That's what she told me it was. So is she shaking them down, harassing them on behalf of the owners of the stores, the businesses along South Broadway, the ones that are part of the South Broadway BID and on the board? Let's be honest.
And if you look at the video, again, taking full accountability, and I would like to make an apology, but looking at the video, you can see that my comments were directed to the gentleman who was antagonizing me and not the vendor. I had already discussed the issues with the vendor. The Department of Consumer Affairs was called, and they sent their inspector, and he addressed some of the concerns. The vendor is permitted by the DCA and the Consumer Affairs Department, and also by the Health Department, to conduct business in Yonkers. The issues that I brought to their attention had to do with the fire department, who was also called, and had to do with the police, who were also called, meaning there was an unpermitted generator that was being used in a not a secure way. There was, like the police attended to after I left, the police did show and attended to the issues that I brought to their attention and asked the vendor to move because the sidewalk was obstructed, and what is left of the sidewalk to walk on is broken.
Okay, all right. All right, see how this story don't make no sense? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. She called the fire, so she was good. It was the generator that she was using in an inappropriate way. I looked on the Consumer Protection Bureau's page. I tried to find what was the correct way. I mean, sure, there are things that they tell you on how to use a generator, where not to place it, but it didn't apply to what the woman was doing and how she was using the generator. What they don't like is that the woman has a streetcar and now she has a generator, which allows her to have more power, which allows her to have more ability to do more things. And the stores don't like that. They want them to be limited. Is that what it is? What fire hazard did it present? It's a generator. You turn them on and you leave them outside. If it was inside the building, okay. That doesn't make sense. And then she says it was an emergency thing. Well, when the first police officer came by, they didn't think it was a big deal. They kept it moving. And then she says they ended up moving her because of the sidewalk safety issue, not even the generator, because it presented a danger on the sidewalk there. No, they moved her because you made such a big stink and because you initially had to leave and nothing happened because Consumer Protection said she was fine. If the generator was an issue, then Consumer Protection would have said something. But he left because he just got this job not that long ago. His wife works for Jose Alvarado, Mimi, and Millie, and he ain't trying to have no issues. She's good. I'm out. I don't want to be in your personal beef. That's what he did. But you went home when you got in your car and you called somebody who then sent the police officer to have her moved. And they found the reason why. Well, Millie, or I'm sorry, Jessica, you are the South Broadway BID person. Why hasn't that sidewalk been fixed? You said you're fighting for $17 million. Well, why hasn't Mike Spano fixed it? I mean, that's city property, technically. It's been 12 years. They say it's been like that 7+ years. Why didn't you push the guy you was hanging out with on Saturday to get it fixed so that the street vendor can work there and no one else could have to, be unsafe passing by? How about that? What about that solution? Nah, that's not what they want. They want him gone. She was trained on how to do damage control, and that's what this is. This is damage control. That's where Rue Ross makes money, damage control. Knows how to backpedal. She's so full of ish. Absolutely. What the hell is Rue Ross watching on his phone that he has to be glued to it while this woman is talking? He's looking at the comments. He's making sure that Freddie Vasquez isn't posting the article about him pleading guilty to touching and kissing an underage girl at his karate school. That's what he's making sure. That's exactly what he's doing. But they're questions. He always says, I'm looking at the questions. I'm looking at the questions. She's a racist. What's SP hard to say and understand? I know, but she has protection. Exactly. So she be acting like a fool. Anthony the Magic, he's watching all the comments to ignore. Absolutely. Because he ignored a lot. He ignored a lot. He went and picked and chose the questions that he could, and then at one point he gets mad and kind of is disrespectful to a viewer who asked a question, implying that he's stupid and cannot comprehend.
Now, the generator being, you kept saying it's not tied up. Tied up to what?
The regulations for a generator, according to the fire department, require that you have it surrounded or enclosed by some type of security. It could be caution tape. It could be barricades. Don't quote me on the 3 feet surrounding, but something.
You don't even know. You don't even know. So how are you going to tell her? So the only thing that she's pointing out is that it needs to be barricaded, surrounded, but she doesn't even know how many feet. Why don't you pull out some yellow tape from your car and say, here, let me help you. I just want to make sure that people see this so they don't, in case they're deaf, because there could be a deaf person and they get too close to the generator and trip over it. Maybe get burned if they touch the right spot on it, because even that, it's not easy to do if you just by hitting it. I know, I've worked with generators. I have generators. It's loud. You're going to hear it and you're going to know you're getting close to it. Again, unless you're deaf legally, and that's understandable. So why didn't you give her some tape? There was like a hardware store or mechanic auto place across the street. You really care about the community? I would have went in there and bought her the tape if it was that big of a deal. That's just
has to secure that from and bring to people's attention not to touch this. Because if a child walks up to that generator, they can get burned. If anybody walks by and just brushes it, they can get burned. And as you can see,
how is caution tape going to stop a child?
I have a picture. Where it is if people are coming out of the parking lot to walk towards the post office, they could not see it at their knees length and brush right by it and get burned.
Okay. So before
that's if they don't hear it. As you approach an object that's making noise, it gets louder and louder and louder. At some point before you trip over it, you're going to notice that some loud thing is in front of you. It's going to catch your attention. I'm just saying.
People start commenting and sharing this video perspective, because very often what we say and what somebody else might hear are two different things. And I always give that example. All the time, I talk to my wife, I said, well, but I told you this. Oh, no, you didn't. So what I say and what people hear are two different things.
See how he talks about his wife? This guy has no respect for his own wife. Why would I think he has respect for mine?
When I first, any vendor that I approach on anywhere on South Broadway, the pots and pan seller, the jewelry seller, the cell phone seller, right? Any vendor that is not permitted, and I know who the permitted ones are because we're part of that process with the city, because we're charged with and we've taken.
Okay, all right. She just lied right there. She just said, I know which vendors are the ones that are permitted. Well, why didn't you know about this lady? She was permitted. Okay, I don't know. Just saying.
Ownership of maintaining this district. So we're aware of who gets a permit in the district.
Yo,
I approach everyone the same.
She's aware of who gets a permit in the district, but you didn't know that these two women had permits? You're not aware, obviously.
Wait, here's my card. Here's this is who I am, and I'm approaching you because I've identified these issues that could potentially cause a liability for the city, myself as an organization, the BID, and the property owners who actually fund the BID.
You heard her?
People who, and I want to just take a minute.
The property owners who actually fund the BID. Those are the individuals she works for and who are having an issue with the street vendors.
To say that with the BID, who the BID is. The Business Improvement District is a nonprofit organization, not a city or agency, that is funded by a fee that the property owners pay on their property tax. It's called an assessment. It's not an additional tax. It's a fee that they agree to, so that some organization like ours can exist to A, have the ranger team outside to keep the streets clean, B, act as a liaison to the city, to attend to things like infrastructure and broken sidewalks and lights and 25 years of lacking maintenance in the district.
Okay, there you go. Isn't that the city council member's job to do? Aren't there community leaders there like Lorraine Lopez? Wilson Soto? Or does he only appear when the mayor's having an event? I mean, doesn't want people to remind him he was convicted of a felony and disbarred. Luckily, he has friends who are judges. And Lorraine as well. Otherwise, she would have got 7 years. But this is what it's all about. She said it's been like that for 25 years. Yet and still, she has people going into these events. She's supporting the mayor, the current administration, who has been in office for 12 years, and it hasn't been fixed. So why are you telling people to vote for him? You asked the guy, who do you vote for? Who do you vote for? Well, who do you vote for, Jessica? Because the guy that you want people to vote for has not fixed that sidewalk. 25 years. The lights, all the stuff that you have to do should be done by the council members. Who represents that district? Who represents that district? Why? It's Tasha Diaz. Tasha Diaz, who's running for re-election. I'm going to show you who the board members are. Tasha Diaz is also a board member of the South Broadway BID. It also goes by Yonkers South Broadway District Management Association. That's its official name. And they don't make that much money, but most of the money goes to their employees. This is the South Broadway bids form 990. This is important to look up, this stuff right here. This tells you a lot. This is the Yonkers South Broadway District Management Association, Inc., doing business as South Broadway BID. These are basically businesses, entities set up to support businesses. While it may be nonprofit, it ultimately serves to make a profit. Silvio Di Maglio, he's the vice chair. Tasha Diaz is one of the board members. Andy Diaz is a board member. Is he related to Tasha Diaz? So let's look at the numbers real quick. Current year, this is 2022. Or the 21. Oh, no, it's 2020. I'm sorry. Just to give you an example. 2021, they brought in contributions and grants, $211,327. Total revenue was just about that, except $2. $211,000, $335, excuse me. Salaries, line 15, salaries and other compensation, employee benefits, $225,280. So the salaries, the compensation, and the employee benefits are more than what they actually bring in. So they were in the hole. Other expenses, $70,000 almost, $69,000. Total expenses, $294,592, leaving them at negative $83,000. So who's getting this $225,000 from this money that they're bringing in? What have they given? Grants and similar amounts paid. What have they done? What do they do? Where do they get this money from? Is it from the city? Do they get grants from city taxpayer money so they can put in their pocket and then go around and harass vendors who are not a part of this special elite club? It's a scam. All the money goes into their pockets. It's a scam.
And also the public events that we do at Lincoln Park to bring people into the district to support the stores and buy from our restaurants.
Corporate welfare.
As well as, workshops and development for the merchants themselves. Over COVID, we've helped many of them get to e-commerce. We've helped many of them get online that weren't, set up a delivery type business that they didn't have before. Those type of services is what the BID is here to do. So what I was attending to that day was the liabilities that could occur from that cart being where it was.
Right.
And one of those liabilities that I unfortunately have to speak about, Ruru, is that the world that we live in today,
listen to this.
Nobody's ever been involved in one before. You're lucky to not have been involved, but I've been in a street stampede because somebody pulled a gun. If somebody pulled a gun in that corner that day, many, many people would have been hurt because nobody attended to the safety issue that was presented.
What? Whoa, talk about reaching. If somebody pulled a gun, you're talking about the safety issue would have been the sidewalk and the cart. No, it would have been the gun. And if someone's pulling out a gun there, then we have other issues to worry about that maybe you should be discussing there, Jessica, if you're looking to improve that district anyway. That's reaching. What? What sense does that even make? Really quick, folks, let's take a look at the executive board here. Jessica Gordon, she became the executive director of the South Broadway BID in 2020. And these are the other members. I'll post this up. Andy Diaz, I don't know if he's related to Tasha Diaz, but Tasha Diaz, here she is. She's a board member. Nader Sage, he's a board member. And Corazon Pineda Isaac, is she still a board member, the Latina princess? Andrea Stewart Cousins, a board member. Maybe we ought to write to them. Maybe we ought to write to Andrea Stewart Cousins. Folks, if you're upset about this, if you're looking for something to actually happen, and we can't let this go because Tasha Diaz, who's a board member, called our Latinas beggars. And my Latino community here, yeah, I'm insulted. Those women and men that were there go out into the community and actually do something, Tasha, and they don't get corporate welfare. They don't get handed positions, handed jobs, and get to steal taxpayer money. Tasha, you do. And you call my Latina women beggars. Shame on you. Nothing happened to her, folks. Nothing. She got away with it. We can't let this time, we can't let it happen. Let's email Andrea Stewart Cousins. Is that okay with you? Because things are a little crazy here, folks. Our elected officials are okay in doing business with a pedophile, convicted, right there in your face. They don't care. They do business with criminals. They'll put out a criminal into our community to lead us astray, Latinos. Where do you think a criminal like Lorraine's going to lead us? To vote for other criminals that do nothing for us. It's time that change. It's time that people stop using the Latino, Hispanic to their advantage. They're not Hispanic or Latino at times, and they do nothing for Hispanic or Latinos. Same goes for those who use the black thing to get votes and do nothing for the black community. It's a shame. We have 4 women of color on the city council. Look at our community of color. They're living it up. What about us? What about the rest of us? How many of you are being pushed out? How many people are deciding whether or not to leave Yonkers right now? How many of you are looking for an affordable apartment right now? It's time that this end, and this is an election year. If you vote, you must come out and vote. If you are registered, you must come out and vote. Time for change. Time to speak out, time to continue to rally, time to continue to protest, time to let them know no more. Enough is enough. I'm done with it, and so should you. Where are the jobs? Kids are getting stabbed in schools, shootings in schools. That's right. They don't tell you about that. You don't know about it. They want to keep it quiet. There's a gang issue in the schools currently that they are keeping quiet. Kids are getting expelled. They don't want certain kids back. The gang activity is out of control. And yet they sit there and talk about the graduation rate being 90%. One of these Hispanic leaders said every graduate went to college, is going to college, got into a college. I don't think that's true anywhere. But they're trying to tell us that here in Yonkers. Our schools are so bad that, honestly, we do need more charter schools. Martha, I'm thinking of you. I agree. We need more charter schools because the schools that your daughter go to, they get so much more. And it's a shame because that causes a separation.
Presented by the cart and the broken sidewalk. The vendor was doing nothing wrong. They were there legally. They were permitted. They're selling their goods just exactly the way they signed up to. The location and the specifics of the generator, what were the issue? As a bid, part of the work that we do with the city and other elected officials, we're fighting for $17 million to fix the sidewalk and fix the streets. 2017 was the last conversations that had happened about the greenway and the streetscape. And in 2022, when coronavirus started to break, and I said, I really want to have real programming here. I really want to develop this district. I really want to bring this to more similar to what the downtown BID is doing. And the only way I can do that is to start by the infrastructure itself. We have to fix what's here. Fix the tree pits, fix the sidewalks, repair the streets, change the lighting. That costs a lot of money. It's our organizations that's been working with the different levels of government to get that money. So the same passion and aggression that you saw in that video, talking about the issues and how trying to make that man understand me, is the same passion that I use when I go and fight for the money.
That wasn't passion. That was aggression. You were upset. You kept getting in his face. You even said at one point, make me shut up. Why engage him? Martha, maybe you're right. Let's say for argument's sake that the man was ignorant. His behavior was uncalled for. She should have never engaged him. That's where she went wrong. Right there, that's it. There are going to be people that are going to do that at times in life. I've had to learn to not get so reactive with Ruros, right? And, it would have been worse had I not worked on myself that day. When he says these things about my wife and these disgusting things and because of what he's done. And I understand that people are looking at me now and have to watch what I do and how I react. So I understand what she's talking about when you mean passion and you react that way. But that wasn't passion. Passion is when a man disrespects my wife and I love her so much that I want to punch his face out, but I don't. Or I love my community so much and I'm tired of it being exploited that I want to get in these politicians' face and tell them about themselves. But I don't. I use my podcast. That's passion. What you were displaying was aggression. It's trying to step up to the challenge of this individual that honestly, I believe in my heart of hearts, you looked as a person who was less than you, an immigrant, standing here with nothing to do. Do you even vote? Do you even know how to vote? You're just another ignorant street dude.
Some people who I spoke with, they believe, Jessica, that you went there on behalf of another business that probably is being hurt by district vendor been selling things there. And they called you up and said, listen, this is happening. We're paying taxes, this and that. This guy might be paying taxes, but not as much as us because we have a store front. Did anyone call you? Did you went there and act on somebody else's behalf? Or was your reason to be there strictly safety reasons? Because look, I saw the video. The video don't look good, okay? I saw the video.
Many.
Exactly. We are permit with the generator.
Specific footage, and it's the only guide that I have to go by. So in that regard, that vendor was permitted by the consumer selling within a certain amount of feet. Yonkers law does not quote that footage. I refer back to my experience in New York City.
There you go. Look at what she said. And I knew that because I was trying to look for it. So what are you talking? So she says, based on my experience in New York City, that's why I thought it was a safety hazard. That's
Thumbs up. In close proximity to a business that sells similar items to what they're selling. In this instance, no business asked me to attend to this situation. They're not selling anything that anybody else is selling within a certain amount of feet. Yonkers law does not quote that footage.
That's
I
not
refer
true.
back to my experience in New York City that has a specific footage, and it's the only guide that I have to go by. So in that regard, that vendor was permitted.
Oh no, she's talking
by
about
the consumer affairs to sell the products they were selling, and they're committed by the health department to sell those products. And the vendor licensing that is given out in Yonkers permits them to go anywhere with safety precautions in place.
What would you have done different, Jessica? If, like I was saying, if we can rewind the tape, and this is happening.
So first, let me just apologize for the way I addressed it on Friday. I'm usually a much more emotionally intelligent person. And for the last 2.5 years doing this job, that's not the first type of conversation I've been in that way. I've had many people unhappy with me for telling them that they could not do something that they always done. But I've handled it a lot better in the past. I will handle it a lot better in the future. what I would do differently, and I'll discuss some of the solutions that I've come up with for myself and the overall situation. But what I would do differently is try to do the education. But at that point in the conversation, when I tried to do that, the vendor, I can't say if it's the vendor's son or if I was told it's the son-in-law. I'm not sure who they are, because in all honesty, Ruru, and I need everybody to understand this, in the almost 3 years that I've worked in this bid, I have parked in that parking lot 60, 70% of the time. I have never seen that vendor there. I would have addressed this situation a long time ago. I would not have, I'm not the type, and unfortunately it makes me not well liked to be the type to come in and say, oh, it's okay because that's how we've always done it. I need people to understand that the reason why the situation here is the way it is because people keep doing things the way they've always done it. So the people with the money and the decision makers keep doing what they've always done. Nothing. And that's why the street looks the way it does.
So
Because
why are you
we have to
voting for the same?
change our behaviors. If I get the $17 million or we get the $17 million to fix the street, our behavior has to be different to maintain that. If I try to get this to look like Manhattan, we can't be doing the same thing we've been doing before and expect it to stay looking that way and then ask people to fix it again. So we have to kind of adjust those behaviors. I'm not a proponent of the we've always done it that way if it's not the right way. If we do things the right way, rock on, keep doing it. I'll promote.
What? Wait. What behaviors are you talking about? Yo, I mean, did you guys kind of hear what she's saying there? Once we get this money, you can't be acting like animals and destroying things. That's what I took from it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just sensitive. But what are you talking about? What behaviors? The woman didn't destroy the sidewalk. It wasn't her fault. Her being there wasn't the reason why the sidewalk was damaged. That sidewalk has been needing repairs for years because things deteriorate. And when you have an administration that doesn't care about a side of town for so long, yeah, that's how it's going to get. That guy that you went and supported, that you want all those Latinos to vote for, 12 years. Why hasn't he addressed it? Why do they need you to make sure it gets addressed? And it still hasn't. You've been there since 2020. And you go in that parking lot all the time. You telling me you never pushed to get that fixed? Now you want to get it fixed? Now it's a problem? You've never seen that vendor there? That's a lie. I've seen her there. I've seen her there. And many others have.
Promote you, because what would have happened, Ruru, and what I would do differently if I had the opportunity and things didn't go that way, I would have invited that vendor to the park. And I would have had the commissioner of parks say to me, excuse me, miss, what are you doing? And I would have said, Mr. Commissioner, I'm very sorry. I made that decision on a weekend when your office was closed, but they were in an unsafe condition over on the sidewalk at South Broadway, but our community loves them. Over on the sidewalk.
Oh, look, the guy unsynced. I don't know when. She's
years that I've been parking and being having meetings with my executives and my board and Silvio's. I've never seen them there. Okay. So, but differently, I would invite them to the park, which let's get to the solutions, right?
Have you attempted to speak with them? Do they have to be at the fixed location, or do they have a range that they can move up and down within a feet, 100 feet forward, 100 feet back?
Rules are very vague in Yonkers, Ruru.
So how can you enforce it?
Rules are very vague in Yonkers. How can you enforce them?
You can ask people to buy in. You can offer solutions, right? So I tried to educate them. I asked them to agree with me and move to a different location. I did not tell them to leave South Broadway. I asked them to move, like you heard me, go back to where you were.
Wait, she's lying. Now she's saying that she told the street vendor to go back to where you were. She was wanting them to move so it could be safer. But you were saying you had an issue with the generator. And you told the guy to go back to where he was, not the woman. You're all over the place with it, Jessica. This is why it's hard for me and others to believe you. And I want to. I don't have a personal issue with you, Jessica. I don't know you, Miss Gordon, Mrs. Gordon. I don't. But I do have an issue with people speaking to certain people a certain way, or to anyone a certain way. And you're right, Maeve. It's not just Latinos. It's and people of color. Everyone has been let down. You are absolutely correct. You are correct. And that should be the message. We have all been let down, and we need to come together. We are all being impacted in one way or another, whether it's your rents going up, whether it's crime, whether it's a development destroying your neighborhood, traffic, the congestion, the poor quality schools, the lack of jobs, affordable housing. I can go on. It's been like that for 12 years. Why do they deserve another 4? What will they do different? If you couldn't do it in 12, why do you need another 4? And if you couldn't get the sidewalk that you see every day, you say, because you go into that parking lot and don't see the street vendor, why haven't you gotten it fixed, Jessica? And why are you fighting for $17 million? Let Spano know you were just hanging out with them, having drinks. He had his little shot of vodka in his hand. You should have said, Mike, can you please get the sidewalk fixed?
Yes.
Right? Or, like I said, I can try to provide them with a safe space to do business and maybe a public space. I've always, since I've been here, wanted to be able to.
Would probably be very good for the community. And the community that are watching this video, they are upset, Jessica. They are upset that you, okay, that is saying that you called them illegal, okay, which actually, I saw the video days after that happened. I heard what you said. I heard when you said that go back to where you were. I heard you talk about possible illegal vendors, not illegal. I saw the video violating.
She was talking about illegal vendors. The only thing I heard was she said to him, go back to where you were. That sounded to me like she was referring, go back to your country. He took it that way, obviously. But let's give her the benefit of the doubt. At least I will, Jessica. That's not what she meant. She meant for him to go back to wherever she believed he was, somewhere in America. But what about the fact that you called him ignorant? You kept getting in his face. And you questioned his voter registration status, whether or not he knew how to vote, and who he voted for. Well, who did you vote for? Did you vote for the current administration? Because they haven't gotten that sidewalk fixed. So why are you asking him who did he vote for if you're referring to the sidewalk? It doesn't make sense, Jessica. Doesn't add up. The best thing for you to have done was, 1, not sit next to a convicted pedophile. 2, simply apologize. Simply say, I was wrong. You're right. I let my emotions get the better of me. I was upset. I should have walked away. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm sorry. I want to make it right. How do I do that? I'm not going to tell you how to make it right, because you need to speak to the community and the people and the Garcia family directly, in which I think she has, and say, how do we make this right? And the man as well, because you were just as ignorant, if you will, as he was. And show the community how to resolve problems. But instead, you come on to try and spin it, cop a plea, hire the help of a pedophile, convicted, man that had child porn, that has 0 credibility. Man, I feel for his son. Sorry, guy. You should have not done that. So you lose all credibility in this apology, in this interview, and people still want justice. And justice for the community and for the people of South Broadway, the real people of South Broadway, not those board members, not the people who fund the South Broadway bid, but the real community, the people that actually live in South Broadway, that are South Broadway. They want justice. That means you have to go. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics, folks. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the show, please make sure you share. I ask you to share because I need to spread awareness. I don't make $1 off the show, and I repeat that because I don't want you to think that this is about money. This is about education, Jessica. I'm educating the people. I'm doing it for free voluntarily with my own time because I care. I care about you folks. Please, we must get engaged. You must be involved. That's gangster to all my people out there in the hood, getting involved and understanding how this works. We are 43% of the population. We should have more influence. We've been let down by the 4 Latina. Do not be fooled. I'm sorry, by the 4 women of color. Do not be fooled. Just because they look like us don't always mean they're for us. But like Maeve Scott said, we have all been let down. So Yonkers must unite as one. And I'm here. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics. Email me at politicwithfred@gmail.com if you have information or you have any concerns. By the way, I got a text. I will text you to the individual. I will be in the building apartment tomorrow. We're going to get those records. All right. We're going to set this straight. I apologize. But reach out to me. Definitely, if you have any concerns, informations, you will remain anonymous. If you are genuine and straight up with me, I will be genuine and straight up with you. Anyone that I've ever exposed deserved it. Guaranteed. Bottom line, point blank, period. I love y'all. Peace out. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Thank you, Martha. I appreciate you. Martha is a dope-ass chick, woman. I don't want to say anything wrong because I'm scared of Martha. Martha is real. I love you. For real, I really do. I care about you. Very smart woman. Great mom. And she cares about the community as well. So shout out to you. Thank you for, chiming in, Martha. Martha has a strong opinion, but she has a very insightful opinion. You don't know what they to antagonize her again before. Martha, I love you. Take care, folks. Have a good day. I appreciate it. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Peace out. Yonkers, we the new generation. That's it. All these folks are old. They got to go. That's it. Got to go. It's time for the new generation to take over. And I hope that some of the individuals that I've spoken to recently, we can actually, really get together, organize, and really make some things happen here.
Freddie wins.
Thank you, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Again, I don't want to make this about race. This is for everyone. Black, white, Latino, brown, Asian, yellow, green, purple, pink. I don't have a racist bone in my body. I love everybody. Unless you have an issue with me. And I don't hate anyone. I don't hate Rude Rose. Hate is a strong word. I dislike him. I don't like what he did to young kids, but I don't hate him. I don't hate our elected officials. I dislike what they do. I dislike the fact that they lie to us, but I don't hate them. This is not personal, and it's no longer about me. This is about the community. So why do I do it? Because you guys want Freddie Vasquez to continue to do it. So I'm going to continue to do it. Basement Politics, we're not going nowhere, folks. These guys, they hate me. They hate me. No, I know. No. You the truth, Martha. You the truth. Have a good night.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
But I am the dead guy. We are the real McCoy. We are the original. An optical illusion that people are following him. The truth is,
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Good evening, Carolyn. This is Stephen Tavert. Sorry that I'm calling you so late, but I just got your number a little bit ago. I actually intended to call you prior to this yesterday, in fact, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So I apologize for calling you later than I wanted to. And in any event, I was calling to apologize for the awful and childish and ridiculous and immature and there's not enough adjectives to describe my behavior. In any event, feel free to call me back.
Begging. You're one of them. Begging.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Who did she talk to?
Let me know.
You ratchet hood rat. Yo, I'm glad I left.
Let me tell you something. I've sat there. No. I sat there. And let me tell you, it's a lot of people that spoke today that was against me, and I still help you to this day. There are churches that are sitting in here that come to me, and I provide for your parishioners. Okay? And they come to me.
You don't do nothing. Oh, I should have stayed.
They come to me. Well, now you say it's my job, but when I'm out there on the front line, you say it's not. And I have given to you as well. When I became majority leader, I became majority leader to change the narrative. The narrative of being, and let me tell you, it's a lot of people that spoke today that was against me, and I still help you to this day. There are churches that are sitting in here that come to me, and I provide for your parishioners.
You and I would be the experts. If it were on hot dogs, yes.
Good evening.
You and I would be the experts. If it were on hot dogs, yes.
5 minutes from the BS. Whole team seeing checks. Hood now with we next. I'm from Yonkers.
It's a major accounting error. $55 million. Number crunchers in the Yonkers school system counted on state aid that wasn't on the way for the past 2 years. Now the district is in crisis. The city's inspector general calls the finance department inexperienced, understaffed, and in complete disarray.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were.
We are the real McCoy. Cos'è che hablan español? Are we? Cos'è che hablan español? Are we? That's a lot of stars. 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 In the hopes that the people will follow them.
Ready, wins. Fatality.
What is that sweet spot? I was raised in housing. I don't think you were. I went to Yonkers public schools. I don't think you did. We can go on all night with this, honey.
Ready, wins. Fatality.
I know how the fuck you think you are.
Ready, win. Ready, win. Ready, win.
We're gonna leave it where it is. Let's vote on this. Let's get it popping. I know how the fuck you think you are. We're gonna leave it where it is. Let's vote on this. Let's get it popping.
Mm.
I know how the fuck you think you are. If you wanna play this game, you're gonna lose it. I'll tell you right now. I know how the fuck you think you are. If you wanna play this game, you're gonna lose it. I'll tell you right now. We're gonna leave it where it is. Let's vote on this. Let's get it popping. Hey, listen, I know you, Lieutenant. But you have a problem with the detectives, you call Detective Sergeant. If you have a problem with that, you call Detective Lieutenant. I know how the fuck you think you are. If you want to play this game, you're gonna lose it. I'll tell you right now. I know who the fuck you think you are.
Fatality.